Hi, my name is Billie. I'm a tranny and I live in San Francisco. And I love young people, not for their hard bodies, but for the fact that they're young and they represent hope. I like young people. Unfortunately, a lot of young people today don't know an awful lot about how to live. They've had everything done for them. So really what I want is just to be helpful and to show people things that other people have shown me about how to live and how to live well on very little money. Okay, today we're doing a double header. Usually one dish at a time should be enough for anybody else, but this, since I've never done this before, let's go over the top, right? Okay, today we're doing chicken and we're doing beans and rice. Now this is the sort of thing that you can cook for the game, and a lot of it really doesn't have to be immediately attended to, so that you don't have to be apart from your guests that much, and you can get to enjoy the game too. Because if you cook it, they will come. Trust me, there is nothing better for a social life than being able to put some food on the table. They will come for miles on their knees over ground glass to be well fed. It doesn't have anything to do with my great personality, and nothing makes me happier than having a house full of people eating my food and playing pinochle. So today we're going to do chicken, which is the deadliest of all meats, absolutely. And I don't much like chicken unless it's dead. I raised chickens in Wisconsin, and trust me, anything you can feed 3 times a day that will run from you screaming, I have no use for. Now the thing about chicken is everything has to be very, very clean, because if it isn't, you're going to be in a world of trouble. You're going to be in bed for 2 weeks, and most of that, when you're not in bed, you're going to be on the potty. So, therefore. So let's come over here while I wash the chicken. And anything that touches chicken has to be washed. Your hands, the cutting board, whatever. And, oh God, have you noticed that nowadays you absolutely cannot get into anything? Everything is so hermetically sealed that it's just impossible to get in there. And I don't have any patience. I'm old, When I go for it, I want to have it. Now these are the sharpest scissors known to man, and I cannot get this thing open. Well, all right, moving right along. Here we go. Now, there's a lot to know about cooking, but the main thing about cooking is to make sure that everything is clean and that you have the proper utensils. There's all these stainless non-stick stuff, except for the enamelware. I mostly don't have anything to do with any of it. Stainless steel is the best, and they make them now with the bottoms that are absolutely wonderful, and they're very expensive. And if you don't have the money, go to Goodwill. Trust me, you will find $200 pots and pans for $20, and who could turn that down? Okay, so that's done. Now, before you do anything with chicken, you gotta dry it. Absolutely. Otherwise, you're gonna wind up in a world of trouble. Because as it cooks, it'll spit on you. Especially if you're deep frying it, which is something we're not going to go into for a while. But anyway, so let's see, what are we going to cook it in? We're going to cook it in this. Now this is a professional pan, and it's a really good one. And it's stainless steel. So, get yourself some really big shears. It's not that you can't use knives, it's just that knives are more dangerous. And don't bother to get a chicken that's cut cut up because you can do it at home. And of course, you can see how easily this happens. Of course, except for the skin. Thank God skin is tough, honey. I'd be more wrinkled than I am. So, I've cut it in half. And now I'm going to take out the back. And I always cook the back. I don't use it, but I cook it because it's great for soup. And anything that you put into a soup pot that's been browned gives you a much better flavor. You know, a flavor is about layering things. Why are you being so difficult? Ah, there we go. That's it. Come to Mama. You see, it's a lot easier with shears. But then I like a lot of things that are sheer. Anyway, moving right along. I'm being very slow about this today. Sorry. Oh well. Cooking is not about speed like drinking. Endurance counts. Now, when I was in jail in Rikers Island years ago, having been a wild child, we used to have chicken. And I had never seen a chicken back in my life. You know, and the wind-up of the thing was they used to tell the newbies, which I was, that it was really seagull and the guards went out and shot them at night. And I absolutely believed it. You know, that was where I learned to play pinochle. You know, 7.5 months in jail, and all I learned was how to play pinochle and push a broom. It wasn't very instructive, except for the fact that I got it. I don't want to come back here. You know, and I never did. You know, so, are you having fun watching me struggle with this? Is this amusing? Good. I think laughter is the dearest thing to God's ears. So, God's having a good time, whether you are or not. And, you know, I guess you can tell I've had a hard life. But, you know, I have so much enjoyed learning how to cook in my life. I really have. Now somehow I left the wing still on there. How did I do that? You just find the bone and you're home. Now you do realize that at this point if I touch anybody and there's your back. Oh, come on, honey. Don't be mean. There we go. And, so, you cut through here. You know, the truth is that if you can butcher a chicken, you can butcher anything. I mean anything. So, now let's see, where have we got that? I heard it go. Julia would not be pleased with me right now. But you know, the thing about French cooking, it's lovely. But its function is that nothing gets wasted. Absolutely. So if you want to cook nothing but haute cuisine, you're going to have to get a rich husband or take out a bank loan. Because nobody can afford to do nothing but haute cuisine. We're going for help. We're going in. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. I think it's just because I have witnesses. Have you ever noticed that? that sometimes things don't go well when you have witnesses? Ah, that's disgraceful. Here. Honey, the skin is so tough, I hope the bird does better. Okay, now, and we're only halfway there. I think this is a good time for us to edit in the camera. Okay. Well, you know what it is. It's a 6-pound chicken, honey. They usually weigh between 3 and 4.5. I hope that doesn't mean that this is an old bird, because we're going to have problems if it is. You know, I never get it straight. There's poulet and poula, and one is the new chicken and one is the old chicken. And the old chicken is like for stewing and stuff like that. But, you know, you did turn this off, didn't you? No. We're having fun. You know, this may take a lot longer than I planned. I've never had so much trouble in my life. You know.
It's looking good.
Huh?
It's looking good.
Well, dear, what can I tell you? As Judy used to say when she dropped things on the floor, there's nobody in the kitchen, nobody will know. You know, and I loved her, of course. I grew up on her. I have no problems with Julia Childs. I just don't do that kind of cooking.
Or drinking.
Well, my friend Josh here is working the camera, so he's going to have a good meal. I know it doesn't look like it, but there you go. I have never had so much trouble cutting up a chicken in my life. Honey, if this thing was as tough in life as it is to cook, let me tell you, it should have lived forever. Oh dear. There's nothing like making a fool of yourself in public. You know, oh well. Oh, I missed some of the back. Well, there you go. Now, I thought it seemed small. This is the biggest chicken I've ever seen in my life. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, you know, and I'm so glad that I am, even though it must look absolutely awful. Are you having a good time out there? I hope so. I'm not a very good example at this moment. But there you go. God, these breasts are large. Oh, God, the last time I saw breasts like these, they were on Jane Mansfield. You probably don't know who she is. But anyway, in case you do. Now, these are the breasts, and I'm cutting them in half. You know, the whole point is to sort of try and make everything as even as possible, so that everybody gets a bite of their favorite piece and so that it cooks better. You know, and here's the other breast. We'll do that. Now, of course you've got to salt and pepper everything. Absolutely. And I don't know. I have a feeling that this chicken may turn out tough, honey. Tough as it was to cut. Let me tell you. Now, you gotta wash your hands. With chicken, you gotta wash your hands or you'll kill yourself. Or somebody else. Which, you know, might be a good thing if you're somebody's beneficiary, but I wouldn't count on it. It's not a nice thing to do. You know, I wouldn't want to cramp anybody else's style, but there you are. Okay. Now, we're finally there. So, salt, freshly ground pepper, because there's nothing like that in the world. I tend to use a lot more pepper and less salt and more extra seasonings because I lived with somebody who had high blood pressure and I had to learn how to cook for him so that I wouldn't send him to the hospital. Now, one of my favorite tricks is paprika. So I put that on just about everything. There's mild, there's hot. I use the mild on the potato salads and just about everything. Besides, it makes everything look nice. And a little garlic salt, and I think you're home. With this, it can go into the... Oh, I didn't turn the stove on. Fuck. All right, it's going to be in there an hour, so it doesn't matter. I didn't just say fuck, did I? Sorry. Don't mean to shock anybody. Now, we get on to the second part of it, which is red beans and rice. Now, this is a simple dish, and it's something you can make while the game's going on. What you do is you fry up some chopped meat, with or without onions. You add some rice and your spices. While the meat is cooking, you add your spices. You put in the rice, and you put in twice as much water as the rice, and you cook it up. And you can do this hot or savory. Now, if you do it hot, what you need is like Italian sausage or chorizo, which is what I usually use. Chopped meat, and when that's ready and it's sort of cooking dry, you put in your rice, and you bring it all to a boil. And it's essential, you got to bring it all to a boil, or the rice will be hard as a miser's heart. So you bring it to a boil, you bring it down, and cover it and let it sit for 20 minutes and you're done. It's so simple. You add beans, you don't add beans, it doesn't matter. You can do the same thing, savory, and all you do is you cook up the meat, you add the rice and your spices, and then cook the rice regular, and it's a lot sweeter. And it's not hot. So you can have it either way, but it's a quick, easy dish that's good to do. And the boys all like it. Don't ask me how I know. All right. God, I love young people. I really do. You have such hope for a better future. I don't know. I think we've sort of left you a mess. Please don't hold it against us, but us old people do know something. So anyway, you're gonna need a big pot, an absolute big one. Stainless steel, got a bottom. Now with pots, I don't worry so much about the outside. I don't like them looking too grungy, but it doesn't matter if they get black as long as the inside is shiny and clean, because that's where the trouble can be. All right, now, if you're going to cook chopped meat, the best way to do it is on a low flame. And especially when you're cooking turkey, ground turkey, cook it on a low flame, but cook it forever, because ground turkey has a lot more water than ground beef does. And so what you want to do is get it fairly dry, because if it doesn't get dry, it won't brown. And if it won't brown, you've lost a whole level of flavor. One of the things that browning does is that it did you get a stunning shot of my ass? It adds flavor, and that's what you want. You don't want to waste anything or throw anything away when it comes to flavor. Now, this recipe I use about a pound, which is about that much. The rest is going to get fried up for pizza, and at some point, I'd like to talk about other things. I'd like to talk about, you know, what do you do when it's 2 days before a party and you haven't done a thing and the house is a mess? I know how to do that, you know, and I hope you're giving parties. You know, I really hope you are. They're so important. And they really are. And any of you out there who have experienced sort of unpleasant vibrations in your house, if you want to get rid of bad spirits, start throwing parties. They can't stand the laughter. They can't stand the happiness. They have to go. You know, you chase bad vibrations away with laughter. The best way to do that is to have parties. So have parties, you know. Don't just go to the goddamn bar. You know, have people into your home. And, you know, if you're feeling a little on the outside and you wish you had more people in your life, trust me, if you cook it, they will come. Absolutely. Usually I do chorizo, but I have some really good hot Italian sausage, which is how you might describe me, being Italian and Hungarian, and they're all crazy, but they like to eat well, because we're doing it hot today. And the best way to do these sausages, if you're doing them with anybody else, is just simply remove the casing, cut them in half, and it comes right off. It's really simple. And as for the chopped meat and the sausage, don't even think about it. You know, when you put all that in the pan, you know, don't try and chop it up. There's not a damn thing you can do with it until it starts to heat up. And that's when you can start to separate the meat into chunks. But until that happens, there, that should be enough. These are really hot. And I don't want to burn anybody out. So I'd love to teach you guys, you know, if this is interesting to you, please let me know, because otherwise I'm not going to get up here and make a damn fool out of myself again, unless somebody's interested. And that's all right, you know. There are no tests that are going to be given. I don't operate like that, you know. I just hope you're eating well and you're living well, you know. You know, I need to put these in something else. Okay. Okay, now I'm putting in 1.5 cups of rice. Now the thing with rice is you use twice as much water as you do. So I'm using 1.5 cups of rice, which means you use 3 cups of water. And you've got to bring it to a boil, or otherwise the rice won't get done. So now you turn it up. You've been doing the meat low the whole time because you want to get rid of everything. Now give it a stir, bring it to a boil, cover it, and as soon as it hits a boil, cover it and you reduce the heat down as low as you can and leave it. And 20 minutes later, you're done. You know, it's not red enough. We need more paprika, and I'm going to use a little of the hot stuff. You know, they do call it red beans and rice, you know. And God knows there are people in New Orleans who are shaking their head as we speak. But what can I tell you? That's not what I'm trying to do. It's sort of inspired by rather than faithful to, you know. Like my love life, you know. Inspired by rather than faithful to. And God knows I've been inspired by a lot of men. Oh well. And I'm looking to get married in case anybody out there is interested. You never can tell how these things work out. You know, if I knew what was important, you know, I would wait until it was time to do something important. I would stay home and eat bonbons and read racy French novels until it was time to do something important, you know? So there you go. I don't know what's important. So just in case, I cook, I clean, I'm lovely until you piss me off. But other than that, you know, it's the usual. We're all lovely until somebody pisses us off. Well, there we go. Okay, it's almost out of oil, but not quite. Just a little more. And as I say, as soon, oh, the beans, yes. Okay, usually I use red beans. I only have black beans. Now, the thing about rice and beans that's so absolutely wonderful is that beans are an important protein. So when you put them together with meat, you know, and protein's the ticket. That's the thing that you really want to have. And of course, you know, the idea of living at home, cooking at home is that it'll taste better. It'll be the way you want it. Now, besides, it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Now, let's see. I need a strainer. And God knows I've got enough of it. I have a thing for cookware. I hate to break it to you, but, you know, it's a fetish. What can I tell you? We all have them. And I drain the beans. I don't wash them. Some people recommend that you do that with canned beans, but I want as much of me on them and as little of them on it as possible. So, here we go. As I say, I usually use red beans, but you know, yesterday I didn't know this was going to happen today. So, there we go. And if I had used the bean water, I would have used less water when I put the rice. Okay, we're almost there. Hallelujah. I don't know. You know, this is one of those odd things where it will all get done, but so far it's been a disaster. I've had absolutely no elan in the kitchen whatsoever. Now, if you will just boil, please. Okay, turn it off.
Look at vent.
Now, if you can find a barbecue sauce that you like, use it. If you can't, make your own. It's really simple. Ketchup, brown sugar, a little molasses maybe, you know, some heat. And you know, I live in San Francisco in an apartment, so there's nothing like having a smoker. So there's several things that I suggest. One of them is this: when you're cooking up ground meat, you use a little of this stuff. It's made from turnips, which I can't believe, but it gives a very rich taste and helps meat brown. And it's wonderful in sauces and gravies. So the chicken's been in half an hour. I'll baste it once more and then it's done. Okay, we can turn that off. Put a thermometer in the chicken. It says 160 degrees. That should be right. So it's done. And I'm basting it with barbecue sauce. And the rice is done. Whoops. And this is what it looks like when you're done. And you've got enough there to feed a small army. And you will keep the quiet until the game is over, and there will be nothing left So you'll have nothing to do but the dishes. And so let's see. All right. Now, I guess, I really do. I really do have a burden for young people because you represent such hope. And as I've already said, I'm a tranny, and I remember my mother showed me how to do everything, how to cook, how to clothe, sew, how to clean. She did that for my brother as well, because she said, I'll be damned if a son of mine will have to marry some woman just because he doesn't know how to take care of himself, and don't you do it either. If you're a woman, don't marry a man just to have somebody to take care of you. Learn how to take care of yourself. So I guess that's it for this show. I don't know if there'll ever be another one. But in any case, the roll call sergeant said in Hill Street Blues, be careful out there. You're very precious. Take care of yourself. Our young people are the best resource we have. As well as our old people, it's the ones in between that get into trouble because nobody's taking care of them. Okay, bye.